can you not transmit the election through electronic means when it is supposed to be electronic transmission?
The system has been corrupted so badly.
How can you be saying Nigeria is indivisible? It is already divided.
The government has a duty, a responsibility to ensure that those students are rescued.
What is the significance of Easter to Christians around the world?
Nigeria's biggest challenge right now is the electoral process, because the political process is fraudulent.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for still being there. Time for us to begin the conversation, and we are talking with lawyer Tochukwu Ohazurike. He joins us to take up these issues on the conflicting orders from courts of the same, of coordinate jurisdiction. Well, the conversation already started actually during the break, so let's just continue from there, Tochukwu. First, your reaction to the CJ's summon.
Thank you very much. When I heard about the CJ's summon, my first thoughts were, why should the CJ summon the chief judges of those states and not the particular judges that were involved in giving these contradictory orders? That is one. And secondly, I now ask myself, sometime in 2016, in October 2016, as part of the leadership of Lawyers in Defense of Democracy, we marched the streets of Abuja in protest against the invasion of the homes of judges carried out by the SSS. And now looking at an issue like this coming up in a political time and seeing what politicians and courts are doing, it seems like somebody will sit somewhere and say, yes, after all, when we invaded their homes to arrest them, you people protested. It seems like this is a validation of the reasons why they carried out that particular illegal act of that day. But I still believe that, one, there is no validation for any illegal act, and that if there is a problem in the judiciary, it should be handled as a problem in the judiciary by the authority that is supposed to handle it. To that extent, I now ask myself, except the statement I read in the media was wrong, but they actually wanted to quote almost the entire letter. If the CJ is inviting the chief judges of these states, what would be the targeted goal? Will he get the full brief of what transpired in those courts from the CJs instead of hearing from the judges who sat and gave these orders? And now looking at the 6 states again, you will notice that 3 of the states connect to PDP, 3 of the states connect to ABGA. Now, the 6 states, Rivers, Cross River, and Kebbi, are connected to the PDP. Now, you see that Anambra, Jigawa, and Imo are connected to the ABGA. But I was very closely connected to the ABGA cases, so I can speak on that one without going directly. So I can use the ABGA cases as an example because I have a very good knowledge of what happened in those cases. And many people will know that for people to get these Exparte orders, they don't come ordinary, they don't come cheap. You understand? And it's not just about coming cheap, because you can have money, but you will not have the access. So you notice that most of the time, there is government backing to whoever gets these orders, Exparte orders. There must be somebody in government who will have a hand in these things. They don't just come, you don't pick them on the road. So to that extent,
what you're suggesting is that somebody in government tells the judge how to grant the order one way or the other.
Yes, he will just tell the judge, give me this order, I need it, and the judge will grant it. That's how these things happen.
You're speaking as a lawyer here.
I'm not a carpenter. I'm going to tell you about the ABGA cases. 100% of the Exparte orders that came up from ABGA cases were gotten by the Victor Oye-led ABGA that had the support of Governor Miliano. 100% of the Exparte orders.
You have proof of this?
Anybody that wants to prove me wrong is free, but nobody will prove me wrong, because I'm talking about what I know. I'm not talking of what I heard, what I saw, what I know. 100% of all the Exparte orders that were obtained, those stopping primaries, all of them were gotten by Governor Willie Obiano and Chief Victor Oye. all the three other parties. What happened in Jigawa was a full judgment. What happened in Owerri was a judgment. It was in Delta State that Oye went through his vice chairman South to obtain the order from a court in Ororokpe, and also in Oka before Justice Oka. He also used his legal advisor. The one in Bauchi, he used his deputy national chairman North. The one in Ibadan, he used his vice chairman Southwest. So he was the one that was basically doing the forum shopping. Because if you don't have certain accesses, you can't just buy it. It's not a commodity that you can buy because you have money in your pocket. Beyond the money in your pocket, you need certain other levels of accesses. And government access is one of those accesses. So when these things happen, and you now ask yourself, why is this thing happening? I remember an Igbo adage that says, when the mother goat is chewing or eating, the baby goat will be looking very closely at the mouth of the mother goat to see how it is chewing. To that extent, I will now ask, do these high court judges just, dish out these contradictory orders from the blues, or because they have also watched the mother goat do certain things in the judiciary that gives them the impetus to say, okay, if they are doing it, we can also do it? That's an inquiry Nigerians need to make. That's an inquiry the NBA needs to make, because I have seen the statement.
Who is the mother goat in this?
I have seen the statement issued by the NBA president, and he has mentioned certain things in that statement. And I want to say to him, Mr. President of NBA, in that investigation and in the efforts you intend to make to find out the solution to these things, also note that in the Court of Appeal, even for the PDP Anambra, in the Court of Appeal, while the Abuja Court of Appeal says Val Ozibo should be the candidate of PDP, the Court of Appeal in Anambra says INEC should not publish any name for PDP. So it has gone beyond the high courts now, and it has gotten to the Court of Appeal.
Tochukwu, these things have actually been new. Multiple conflicting court orders have been the norm for quite a while now. And every now and then we hear interventions such as the one we saw from the CJN yesterday. The question was, how far-reaching would it be? We're going into an election year, but two things stand out here. On the one hand, is the bench is on the spotlight. On the other hand, the bar is on the spotlight. Let's talk about the bar, which you directly belong. These orders, most of the time, politicians don't go to courts to obtain these orders. It's lawyers that go to court.
All the time, not most of the time.
These lawyers that go to court to obtain these orders. Now, what is the role of a lawyer in cases such as this, in protecting the sanctity of the justice system?
See, the lawyer is an officer in the temple of justice. And while, carrying out his matters, he owes the court certain duties. These duties include the duty to inform the court.
That's full disclosure.
Yes, to disclose to the court the existence of another matter on the same issue. Now let's go back to Anambra again. Because of my participation in and knowledge of the ABGA matters, I will intermittently use ABGA matters.
Yes.
Because it contains half of the states that are also invited in this system, as my example. Now, there was a convention of ABGA, which, from events that happened, one held in Oka, one held in Owerri, on the same day, 31st of May 2019. 7 days later, on the 6th of June 2019, Chief Victor Oye sued Chief Edozie Njoku, who emerged from the Owerri Convention, seeking 2 prayers, Exparte. 1, an order of court restraining Chief Edozie Njoku from parading as ABGA chairman. 2, an order of court restraining ABGA from recognizing Chief Edozie Njoku as chairman. Chief Edozie Njoku obeyed, stepped aside, stopped parading. And when he eventually filed his... That interim order was also made interlocutory when the motion on notice was heard. Now, when Chief Edozie Njoku filed his defense, he filed a defense and counterclaim, Victoria withdrew his matter immediately. Withdrew his matter, and the judge said, I'm vacating the orders I have already. So, meaning, Chief Edozie Njoku, when the orders were vacated, what is the implication? Chief Edozie Njoku, continue to parade. I'm no longer restraining you. ABGA, continue to recognize him. it was upon that Chief Edozie Njoku now filed for mandamus, that the court should grant seeking mandamus against INEC to recognize him as chairman. Now, when Victor Oye withdrew this one, he procured one of his members again, one of his close aides again, to sue him in Oka, without even joining INEC. You know, the one here, he did not join. So that man that sued Victor Oye alone. Victor Oye, while in Oka, did not disclose to the court in Oka if he says he did not know. He should have disclosed to the court in Oka that, sorry, my lord, there is a counterclaim against me pending in Abuja. I have withdrawn my case there, but there is a pending counterclaim. He refused to disclose that to the court in Oka. Now, while the mandamus was filed, while that one in Oka was existing, Chief Edozie Njoku on this side did not know there was a secret matter in Oka. Oye now still came back, while that one in Oka was still pending, filed a motion that ABGA should be removed as a party from the suit. The one, you know, he was the one that took ABGA to court. He filed Chief Victor Oye against Chief Edozie Njoku and ABGA. Now he now comes back to the same court to say, remove the name of ABGA. I'm the chairman of ABGA. Remove the name of ABGA. Now, he was maintaining two cases at the same time without disclosing to the other court, to both courts, that I'm involved in these two matters. Now, he gets a judgment in Oka. He hides it. Until, that was last 2020. It was when these matters of election now came up that he actually brought it up in another court. And the question is, why is it only one judge in Oka that is always giving Victor Oye all the judgments he's parading that declare him as chairman? Only one judge. So you now ask yourself, of all the judges in Oka, it's only one. For every case that is filed that he needs to get victory, he's only in the same court. So when I say that this thing has the backing of state, of government, this is a clear case.
Now,
a classical case.
Flowing from what you said, the heads of court assigned cases to the judges under them. You said earlier, why would the Chief Justice of Nigeria, for instance, invite the heads of court instead of the individual judges? From what you're saying now, is there not a connection now? Because if, according to you, there's a particular judge that handles particular cases and grants particular orders, who assigns the cases to those judges? That particular
Thank you very
judge.
much. That I assign a case to you, prima facie cases, that I assign a case to you does not mean that you have to go and do what is wrong, right? That is one. Secondly, I practice here in Abuja. I want to say that the former CJ that has retired, when he was CJ, he was not the one assigning cases. He delegated it to his number 2. He was not interested in assigning cases. So it's his duty, which he can delegate. He delegated it to somebody, to his number 2 to be doing. I said, I'm too busy, so that cases do not delay. Handle these matters.
That's Justice Ishak Bello.
Do you understand? Handle these things. Now, when you what if you invite such a CJ? That means he will tell you, oh, sorry, sir, I'm not the one that does this. I delegated this function. Please, can you invite my number 2?
But Tochukwu,
the question is, why not invite the judges in question?
Tochukwu, you know what they always say. The buck stops at the table of the person at the helm of affairs.
He's responsible, but he's not liable.
Yes.
But he's not liable, he's responsible. These are all judges. He does not have power to... The chief judge of the state does not have power to discipline the judge under him.
Does this summon indict the chief judges?
No.
Exactly. So this is still a preliminary talk.
Do we have the luxury of time to go this route? Why, now,
from what you're saying,
will the CJ will it even be proper for the CJN as the chairman of NJC, who will either preside to investigate this matter or discipline these judges, or delegate the same function to someone else to do on his behalf? Will it be proper for him even to invite these persons and have a chat with them? Why not just set up a panel and ask these judges in question to go and face the panel?
That will become a disciplinary issue. Exactly.
If they clear their names, good. If they don't clear their names, now listen. Not just in the states, so this thing happens even in Abuja. The federal government even does it. Government has their courts. We practice this law. So when there are matters that when they go to a particular judge, you know government is involved. You know the government interest even before it ends, and it's always consistent. You understand? It's in this Abuja. That a court, in a matter that is not a election tribunal matter, gave order that a particular governor be removed and that an APC person be sworn in immediately.
I asked earlier about the role of the lawyers, Tochukwu, and what they should do. The NBA has spoken up, has also commended what the CJN is doing and asked for more action. But on the part of legal practitioners themselves, there's a legal practitioners disciplinary committee, and you have talked about the lack of full disclosure by some lawyers when they approach the court. The forum shop, they're actually used by, in fact, most of the time, these lawyers recommend to their politician client, let's file it here, let's file the other one then, let's file the other one.
I have a judge.
Yes.
I've got a judge.
Yes.
Go and file it.
So
happens.
What's the role of the LPDC in this?
I want to find. I think I'm finding it difficult to answer because I don't know the speed at which LPDC handles matters about misconduct of lawyers. When I say some of these things, I say based on my own personal experience. Sometime in April this year, I filed a matter before the LPDC. April is the 4th month, right? Today is the last day of the 8th month. I've not been contacted since the day I filed that matter. Oh, that your matter has been assigned, your matter is coming up this 4 months plus after. So now I ask myself, what's the speed with which LPDC can do some of these things? I'm talking about my own personal experience. So if I want to judge the speed of LPDC, I'll judge by my own experience, right? Good. And that's in the Danladi Omar matter. I witnessed what happened. So I found that a lawyer should not have behaved like that. Even if you say, I want to concede to you, Danladi Omar, that somebody insulted you. The reaction from a lawyer should not be.
And let's make it clear that Danladi Omar is the chairman
of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Who gave an Exparte order?
See the Exparte we are talking about.
Who gave an Exparte order that removed the sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria? And the government did not have a hand in that Exparte order. It wouldn't have happened. It's not. Danladi Omar is not a judicial officer. He cannot be disciplined by the NJC. But the authorities that be in the NJC and the Supreme Court all kept quiet. And he gave an order.
You have constantly
referred
to the involvement of government.
Yes, because it's there.
Experte order. You insist that it is there. But then again, obviously there are people that work with them in the judiciary to make these things happen. The government is an arm of government on its own.
The executive
is an arm of government.
When you say government, we are referring to the executive.
I know what you're referring to, both at the state level and at the federal level.
Yes.
And then you also have the judiciary, who also has, its own powers to make its own decision. So it means that both sides are culpable of this problem. So where does the solution come from? Who begins to solve these problems?
There's another Igbo saying that says, when a man asks his son to go and steal, if that boy meets a metal door, he will kick it in immediately and easily. Very easily, he will kick in the door. Because his father has sent him. These judges do these things with impunity because they know, in quotes, nothing they happen. Nothing. And that's why it continues to happen, because nothing will happen.
So are you saying that this CJN summon is just going to be just...
Unless there's a change this morning, which I will celebrate. But the thing has been happening, like you said, it's not just something that is here, it's something that has been here with us. So why do you think evil thrives? Abacha said if something like this thrives for more than 3 days, that means the government is involved. Government is interested in having it to happen. Because they know that sometimes they also need this crazy Exparte order. So that's why they must leave a window for these crazy Exparte orders to exist. They need it sometimes. Federal government needs it sometimes. So they must allow it to happen. Because if they shut this window and the day they need it, what will happen? See, the simple thing is this. Let's go to the PDP case. When I say I don't know something, there's no way you can prove to me that I know it. Even if you teach me something and I tell you I didn't understand you, I don't know it. You can't prove to me that I know it, right? Now let's take the PDP case. An order comes from Rivers State High Court that Secondu should step aside. Days later, another order comes from Kebbi State High Court that Secondu should go back to office. The question is, the judge in Kebbi can claim, oh, sorry, I never knew there was something like that happening in Rivers State. The lawyer there can also claim likewise. So the question now is, how can we put these things together so that there won't be conflicting orders? I think we should start looking for solutions.
Yes, that's precisely where I wanted to head at, because I remember when the situation was very prevalent at the Court of Appeal some years ago. Yes. There was a proposal to have more or less like a central data clearinghouse. So an order comes from a Calabar division of the Court of Appeal or a Port Harcourt division of the Court of Appeal, automatically is at a database, where all the justices of the Court of Appeal can access. And the issue of taking judicial notice, which you talked about, comes in here. Because if you can click on your laptop or your desktop and you check and you see the parties in question, you see the job subject matter in question, you can easily know that this case, a decision has been filed, has been made in this case, or this particular case has been filed, is subsisting in so and so division of the court. So a justice of any court, whether he's in the northeast or the southwest or anywhere, can take judicial notice based on the digital footprints that are available on that particular case. Do you think that's the way to go to resolve this matter? But on the one hand is the judiciary that is slow in adopting technology to aid the administration of justice. But could this be the right way to go to help address this issue?
Now, you have stated what is the situation currently in the Court of Appeal, right? But I've given you an example that's currently true. Why the Court of Appeal Abuja Division says Val Ozibo should be the candidate of PDP. The Court of Appeal in Oka says no. So that's why up to date, PDP does not have a name on that list, right? Now, let us also go back to the ABGA cases. You will also notice that even when a judge is told that there's a similar case, it's not like the judge did not know. Justice Oka knew and was informed that there is a judgment of another high court. And acting on that judgment, INEC has made a publication of a name. He still went ahead. Do you understand?
Sometimes
that's why I say, when somebody is on a mission, these things we are saying will not work. However, the solution could be this. For every Exparte order, political Exparte order, the chief judge of the state should be notified. What do I mean?
But is that not constraining the discretion of individual judges?
Did I say the chief judge should sit on the matter?
When you say notify, what does it mean? After the order has been granted?
No. If I apply to a judge seeking an injunctive order, not just every ex parte order, because if I seek ex parte order for extension of time, ex parte order for substitute service, those are okay. Yeah. They are innocuous orders. But when I seek injunctive orders against any party, ex parte, as I am filing it before the registry of the court, I am also filing a copy to the office of the chief judge. Why? The chief judge will be notified. The office of the chief judge will be notified that I seek such an order. So that if there is another subsequent application to for such on the same subject matter, at least within that state, the chief judge will say, no, this issue has come before Justice XYZ. Now, every other matter that comes before
will go to that particular judge.
Administration again.
This is administrative.
Yes, but calling only the six judges, that doesn't mean that this thing happened only in 6 states. It happens nationwide. So all the chief judges should have been called. Now, the question now is, there should be a platform where the 37 chief judges should coexist. And not just the 37 chief judges. The presiding judges of all the jurisdictions of the divisions of the Federal High Court should also be notified. So if I also file it before a Federal High Court judge, I should file another copy to the presiding judge in that division. So that the 37 chief judges plus the presiding judges of the Federal High Court will be on a platform where when such applications come before another court, like the one in Rivers, it comes up in Kebbi, the Kebbi person must check. Is there anything like this pending anywhere?
Yeah. And
you will send it back to that place. You understand? In these APCA matters, people may not know. Victoria filed more than 12. More than 12. Justice Ngajiwa, do you know how I got this idea? Is that Justice Ngajiwa in Oka, who is the presiding judge, when he saw, gab everywhere, he said, wait, he packed all of them. I said, okay, instead of distributing it amongst the judges here, let me just, so that there can be tidy handling of this. He just put all of them together before him and said, okay, let me hear all of them. And that is why the explosion that should have happened in Oka, if he had done, okay, take this and I take that, had happened, there would have been conflicting orders from the federal. So I commend him. Again, I commend the president of the Court of Appeal. There is an appeal on the judgment of the Owerri High Court. There is an appeal on the judgment of Justice Oka in Anambra. There is also an appeal on the Mandamos application by Chief Edozie Njoku, which I had referred to earlier. What did the President of the Court of Appeal do? She put all of them together, constituted a special panel. And
that's a special panel that sat in Enugu.
And they are sitting in Enugu. Now, you can see that there are two panels sitting in Enugu, together in Enugu, in the Court of Appeal Enugu. Now, it makes it tidy. Because there was high possibility of conflicting judgments of the Court of Appeal. But she put them together, and there's a special panel sitting in Enugu. Now, you can see that the Court of Appeal can do that. But at the level of the High Courts, there is no authority in the High Courts of the state that can put them together under one umbrella.
But you have a chief judge of the state.
No. Like, I'm giving an example now, like the Rivers and Kebbi and Cross River matter of PDP. No, who could have put them together? Nobody.
Because they're coming from different states.
Because they're coming from different states. And the chief judge of Rivers could not have ordered the chief judge of Cross River or Kebbi to do otherwise. So if those matters come, like the platform I said, and the chief judges are aware, the Kebbi chief judges are aware, the Cross River chief judges are aware, what happens is, if the matters cannot be consolidated, because one will check the distance between Kebbi and Rivers, if the matters cannot be consolidated, the later in time should wait until there is a first one. Then all of you go and join in that one.
All right.
So the responsibility still lies on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to create some kind of clearinghouse.
Definitely.
Some
but
clearinghouse.
The difficulty, like I said before,
is
because the federal government will need these experts once in a while. This window, they will not want to shut it.
But don't you have confidence in at least the interest of the CJN to make sure that these kind of embarrassments, is cut off from the judiciary?
I'm not a pessimist. So let me be on the side of the optimists that say now that, at least this is a step in the right direction. The statement issued by the NBA is also a step in the right direction. To that extent, can we applaud what they are doing? But whether this will lead to a complete shut of the window is what I question, and I will not allow myself to be cajoled into accepting that they will shut it, because I say the federal government needs that window. If they don't need it, they will shut it. But because they still need it, it will be there.
All right.
Because let's their own primaries, their own leadership issues, when it comes and the federal, somebody in government has an interest, they will give those orders will come, either in the states or at the national level. That is exactly what will happen.
Let's have our eyes on the ball on this issue and hope that the Chief Justice of Nigeria will continue to strengthen the institution of justice across the country so that these ridiculous and embarrassing situations can be curtailed once and for all. I want to say thank you so much. Tochukwu Hazarike is a lawyer based here in the Nigerian capital city, for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Tochukwu. And that's our show today. We want to say a very big thank you to you for choosing to be a part of it. We certainly will be back on Wednesday. I'm Senami Okiamakai.
I am Utaba Umoran. I'll see you on Wednesday.